morning. Welcome back, everyone. Just about 11 minutes before 7 o'clock on this Monday morning. Summer is right around the corner, and if you're a parent, you're probably wondering how you're going to keep your kids busy. Gunderson Health System family and child therapist Jeff Reiland is joining us this morning with some tips. Good morning. Thanks for getting up with us.
Good morning, Amy. My pleasure.
This is a hard time for parents because we're used to our kids being gone for 7-8 hours a day, and then suddenly they're home all day, and maybe they're trapped at home because of transportation issues. How do parents and families adjust to that kind of full-time parenting, so to speak?
Well, you're right about that. This is a time that parents are pretty anxious and kids are pretty excited. Parents oftentimes aren't sure how to fill those 30-plus hours a week that kids now have available. And sometimes they go to the default mode of having the TV on or playing video games or some other screen device. And so the American Academy of Pediatrics came out with guidelines both back in 2001 and again in 2013, updating the guidelines from 1 to 2 hours a day to 1 to 2 hours a day. So even though we have texting and all kinds of new social media, they still recommend that amount of time because too much social media doesn't replace what kids really need, which is FaceTime, time with parents, time outside, time interacting with one another. And so parents really are in a dilemma because they now have more pressure than ever to combat the kids' desire to spend more time on screens. And what kids will often say is, I'm bored. I'm bored, there's nothing to do, when there's a gazillion things to do. So one of the things that we recommend is parents start now making lists, getting ideas, start to keep track of all the things that they can do when their kids start to say, I'm bored. Maybe have a simple rule, we don't turn on screens until after chores are done, until after we've played outside with friends, until after we've accomplished a certain number of other things before we do the screen thing, which really should be something that happens in small amounts near the end of the day rather than all day long before parents get home.
How do you start that conversation, though? Because I have a 6-year-old who is obsessed with Minecraft right now, and we battle over use of the tablet all the time. And so how do you, if they've been able to have it, and they're using technology at school too, so you know they may have had it for more than an hour, how do you start that conversation and convince your little person that, you know, enough is enough?
Well, one of the challenges we run into is we're always trying to reduce screen time rather than replace it with other things. So one of the things I like for parents to do is to apologize and say, you know, I'm really, really sorry. We probably have too much of that. It's not your fault. It's mine. And so we're going to cut back a little bit at a time. We're not going to go cold turkey. We're just going to use less while we do other things. Because if you say to kids, don't do that anymore, but you don't tell them what to do or don't make other things more obvious to them, they're going to resist that. And so making sure that those choices are really obvious and that you as a parent are willing to spend more time with your children. Americans on average, adults spend on average about 30 to 38 minutes per day of FaceTime with their children. Not watching TV, but actually interacting, looking at them, talking with them, having conversations, compared to between 4 to 8 hours a day of screen time that kids get on average. And so we really want to make that more balanced. It'd be wonderful if parents could spend more time and give kids more direction and simply have rules. This is what we do in this family. It's a new rule. We didn't know about how much screen time could possibly cause some harm from a health standpoint, from a social relationship standpoint. There's lots of strategies parents can use, but be willing to take a little heat for it because kids aren't going to be happy about it.
But let them know it's not a punishment. All right, Jeff, thanks so much for speaking with us. Good luck this summer to you and all the other parents out there. As we head to break, a look at what's